Hi, this is your host, Laura Powers, and I'm so pleased today to have Ashley Louise Jackson on the show. We're going to do a live reading, which I'm really excited for. Ashley is an author. She's an expert on cannabis. She's from Idaho, told me like Little House on the Prairie. Very fun. But that's my brief introduction. I'd love if you could share a little bit about your story before we get into the reading.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Laura. I'm so excited to be here today. So, I grew up in Idaho in the middle of nowhere on a horse ranch. My family had a hunting ranch in Nevada, and they take people guided trips into the mountains. And so, I didn't have a TV a lot growing up. Grew up and I felt like I was a little misled after I got a little older, but I've traveled the world since then. I was fortunate to be in the movie Napoleon Dynamite. I got E. coli in Las Vegas, and suddenly I found myself between Western medicine and Eastern medicine. And I learned a lot about cannabis in a short amount of time. And I was able to translate that into a really short, digestible book for people. And I've been able to educate and advocate for cannabis all over the globe now, but really in Idaho and those places that are less fortunate to understand. So,
Got it.
yeah, I am excited to go today.
Awesome. Yay. I'm excited too. I feel like it's a lot of cool information that's going to come through. So let's just dive right in. Although I'd like to ask if there's anything in particular that you'd like me to focus on or ask or just see what comes through in the
I
channel.
think just see what comes through. I'm really
Okay.
open-minded. I have a lot of avenues in my life, so I'm sure those will manifest and come through.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to call on Ashley's angels and guides, and my angels and guides as well. Archangel Michael, Archangel Ariel, Haniel, Zadkiel, Shamuel, Gabriel, Uriel, Jophiel, Azrael, Metatron. Any other angel or guide can assist. Please make sure this is a safe space. Increase clairvoyance and psychic ability, and make sure that whatever comes through is for the highest good. And I'm getting to ask, can you say your full name for me 3 times?
Ashley Louise Jackson. Ashley Louise Jackson. Ashley Louise Jackson.
Okay, all right. So first thing they're showing me is you are so psychic. We were just chatting about this before, so it's not like a big surprise, but they show me, like in particular, your crown chakra is just like, whoom. I see like this channel of light and information. It comes through your crown, and then your third eye is like super illuminated. So really psychic, very strong abilities, very connected in that area. I get you're very telepathic and you're constantly getting guides like talking, kind of chit-chatting with you in your ear. Lots of information, so definitely getting things and information through your thoughts specifically. And I also get that you have a very strong like inner compass, meaning you just are able to navigate very kind of naturally and with ease compared to a lot of people that struggle a lot more with like being in their head and analyzing things. So that's really incredible. All right, angels, what will help Ashley today? Yeah, this constant stream of information that you're getting, a lot of times it's for you, but I'm getting a lot of times it's for others. And I know you have done readings for people, for quite a while that you did that. They're showing me books and teaching and sharing being really important for you. Do you have any plans to write any additional books?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely plan to. There's a movie that I'm working on called Unstoppable, but it's like an unstoppable series of books because my book's called
Okay.
Unstoppable. So it's
Oh,
like a series
great.
of unstoppable events that change people's lives. So yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm feeling a strong kind of push from the guides for you to really do a lot of writing and put work out into the world to share information that way. They're also showing me, which is something that I've been seeing a lot lately. It's funny, I feel like there's certain themes that come up in readings and kind of in batches. And this is of kind of stepping back from like behind the curtain to in front of the curtain. Like it's really time for you to be seen and visible. And I know compared to a lot of people, you've already been visible. Like I said, you were in Napoleon Dynamite, and it's not like you're a super private figure, but I am getting it's time for you to be even more visible than you've been. I'm also getting, this is interesting, an image of, it's almost like there's different Ashleys. Like there's like the performance Ashley, and there's the author Ashley, and there's the, kind of intuitive psychic Ashley, and there's the kind of fashion or whatever. And I'm being shown this image of it's time to like bring them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Like to not kind of compartmentalize all the different aspects of you, but just to be the one complete version of you, all united. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday, it seemed like my face changed in the mirror, and I was like, ooh, like, I think it's all
Wow.
coming together. I think when a human has high level trauma at a young age, they fragment off, and then they want to realign, and they're willing to do it and flexible enough. And you do
Yeah.
enough hot yoga, it suddenly just snaps back into place.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. And that's what I'm being shown is like all, I mean, all these versions of you are you. It's not like, one of them isn't you or something, but it's more like it's time to unify yourself. And they're showing me that that's your strength. And you don't have to compartmentalize or be like different versions of yourself. And I'm getting part of it is an internal thing, and part of it is also like you don't need to be different versions of yourself for other people. Like there's certain people where you're like, okay, I'm this version of Ashley. And then for other people, I'm like, I'm this version of Ashley, kind of based on like what they are, how they perceive. I'm getting it's time for you to just be really, truly authentic to you. They're showing me you're a chameleon and you're also very empathic. So part of this, a lot of empaths do this where they're like, what do you need me to be? Okay, got it. There we are. Like I'll be that for you. And it's time to like do your higher purpose and help people and serve in that way, but to just also be really truly who you are without needing to change that for different people. So this feels really significant, and I'm being shown that you are definitely going through the process of doing this already. It's not like you aren't, but it's going to continue. And they're showing me that when you do, like when you unify all the aspects of yourself, like, wow, the power, because it's almost like, let's say there's 7 different Ashleys, 7 different versions of you or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, it's like your power times 7. Because as you've been branched off, it's like each kind of version of you only has access to some of that power that you have.
Right.
So I'm getting this as really a good thing, but I'm also, they're showing me this kind of emotional turbulence that you may be going through, or that you will go through as this processes, because there is some fear, some patterns that you'll be releasing, also some situations or relationships, because they're showing you that there's some people who, they're going to have a hard time having all of you,
Yeah, for sure. Since I was
And
little, they've said, you're just too much. All of you too much. So
yeah,
I've learned how to really navigate that. And so now I have my own businesses, and now I've linked up with this thing. So I see what you're saying.
yeah. And they're telling me that if people have a hard time having all of you, like you said, and I got this too much, or, kind of like head in the clouds or whatever. I'm like, no, it's just magic. It's fine. That if there are people that are having a hard time having that, either maybe they just need to have some time to adjust to that new level of energy that you're showing them, or in some cases it just may not be aligned for you to connect with them, and that's okay.
Right.
You don't have to modify yourself to make them feel better. Either they'll adjust to you, or it just they show me just kind of people just falling away. Like, it's okay. Yeah. You don't have to be everyone's friend.
Right. This is something I've recently really realized. I think I used to like boyfriends. I used to just cater to boyfriends. I'd do whatever and become whoever. And now I'm like, if you don't like me, you can leave. It's okay. But that was hard for me.
Yeah.
Like the loss of anything was hard for me for a while, I think. And then I realized that it's okay. Like that's fine.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of people that are empaths, but then there's also people that I would label as like super empaths. I'm like, you're a super empath. I'm a super empath. And I have found that a lot of those who are extremely empathic that way, we're chameleons. And because we're so tuned into how people feel, we can kind of become different people because we feel what is comfortable for others. And so that's what I'm getting for you. That's one of your big lessons is like, how do I be just authentically me, whatever that is, even though I can be whatever's needed in that situation. But you're starting to get to a point, the energies are shifting where this kind of authenticity, being true to ourselves, is what's really being called for in the universe. And so it's not that each of those versions of yourself aren't you, but it's like not the complete package. And it's time for you to be the complete package. There's some people, for example, that can't have the sort of psychic side. And they show me people that are very kind of rigid, kind of in a box kind of thinking type of people. And like, for example, those type of folks, you may just have
For example,
Um,
those are my parents, so it's good. Interesting.
yeah, you may
And
have
so
some
there's this thing.
separations.
I've learned to make new families everywhere I go, and so
Yeah.
you think, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But I'm also being shown that there may be some people that may surprise you in the sense of you think that they can't handle it, but as you shift, it just gets them to question. They may not shift right away. It may take them
Right.
a bit of time, but also just to give people the chance to react how they're going to react. I've learned, for example, when I read, not to like read into how someone is reacting because I know that sounds strange because I've had people. I remember there's one client and I'm like, this woman hates everything I'm telling her. Like I just kind of went through the reading and then the next time I saw her, she said, Laura, that was amazing. I just like was in shock the whole time. So
Right.
sometimes people are just in shock and you like don't read into what that is. Like just let them do their thing and it may or may not be what you think that it
Right. You just never
is.
know right now. The world's a wild place.
Yes, exactly. All right, so let me check in again. So angels and guides, what else would be helpful for Ashley? Yeah, they show me writing, writing, writing. And yeah, I see definitely screenplay, maybe television, but definitely your work being depicted, you know, with actors and in that kind of context. And it feels like not a documentary, but definitely narrative work. I feel that there's a potential, and part of this is whether you kind of allow for it to come in, for you to be a household name. Like that feels like that's possible for you. And it's not like, oh, this couldn't happen, like it wouldn't be aligned. Let me just check in, like what is it that would determine? So angels, what would determine if this comes into being? Getting a lot of it is just the decision on your part to really step forward into that limelight. Let me see what's keeping that and holding that back. Whew, there's a lot of
Oh,
intense
girl.
kind of, yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, I could just like feel of it. A lot of intense past life situations and traumas that are informing your patterns right now. And in past lives, I'm being shown, you know, beheadings, persecutions, feeling totally ostracized from society. And so there's a lot of these patterns coming up where you're afraid of being too visible, too seen, because that is what has happened for you in some lives when you were more visible. So angels, what is the lesson involved in this? Yeah, this happens a lot. I'm getting that, you know, you feel on a soul level like this is about, oh, don't get too big, don't get too visible, but it's actually about learning to trust and really assess a situation and your intuition and your reading of it. So to better be able to read the situation, know what's going on, assess what is safe to do, what is safe not to do, and are these people, is this environment, community, whatever, the right place for this message? Because I'm getting a lot of times you're like, here's my message, and it's like not the right group, and then they're like, you're gonna die or whatever.
And so it's totally juxtaposed to what's happening right now, right? I do work in the cowboy boot industry as well. And the cannabis industry and the cowboy boot industry are the most juxtaposed
Oh
industries on
yeah,
earth, honey.
totally.
So I'm very like hyper aware, right? Even getting on here
Yeah.
today, there's a risk that a cowboy boot person might see me, think I'm a crazy psycho, not a psychic, and then they don't buy my cowboy boots. And that's how I have lots of income streams. It's not that I don't, it's just I'm passionate about cowboy boots. And then I had a dude tell me I should just do all vegan cowboy boots. It was great. So very interesting, like very blah. And I see. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So essentially, I'm just getting, if there are some individuals who are like, wow, no, she's crazy. She's, you know, they're not your people. They're not your audience.
But
And that's
isn't that
what's
what you
so,
have to be a household name?
um, no, I'm getting like we were chit-chatting about Oprah before, like she is so who she is, right? The
Totally.
people that are the ones that often get to be like that level, they are just so authentic to themselves. And I'm getting a lot of it is the comfort, like if there, oh, here's what's coming through. Because you feel a little bit of discomfort with that aspect of yourself in that world, you will attract to a degree some people who also reflect that. And as you become more comfortable and honor the different parts of yourselves, you'll attract less and less people that have that kind of judgment. It's almost like you're judging yourself, so then you will attract more people who judge you.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
hey, where'd you come from? Like, I must be a mean bitch in my head. Like, goodness, girl. And I
Yeah.
laugh because I'm like, okay, this can't be real. Like, you came from a different fragment of a dimension. And I'm like, hey, like, I don't want this
Yeah.
anymore. So I've been working with NLP for a couple years, pretty
Yeah.
hardcore, learning how to rewire my brain. So I one day want to say, like, I'm an expert on that too. I have helped so many people at this point with it because I've done a
Yeah.
lot of phobia cures and stuff, things like this with people, and I know it works. So you
Yeah.
talking to me about this is just revealing a lot of patterns that I'm like,
Yeah.
so I do have a couple questions, but you can keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Just real quickly, because it's coming in to say,
Yeah.
I get that NLP work is very good. The other thing that's coming in is the emotion code. I don't know if you've heard of that type of work, but it can also really help with clearing those beliefs and blocks sometimes that are really deep in there, because you've definitely done a lot of work. I'm not saying that you haven't, but it feels like there's still some things from past lives, and then also some
There's
patterning.
some
And
present life stuff. So I have a question
yeah,
about it. That's my
yeah, one of
question.
them is with your parents in particular.
Yeah,
And
so it's like Louise, the name Louise is my grandma's name. And I
okay.
was molested by my grandfather for 10 years. I'm going to tell you this because it's important. She's still married to
Yeah.
him. And it's
Wow.
come up recently. He contacted me recently. I've sued him. We've been to court. He was convicted criminally, got it reduced to a class A misdemeanor. It's very like what's going on in the news-ish. So it's
Right.
very strange and a very parallel. So when he contacted me over Easter, I
Wow.
wrote a big synopsis, but it's called My Grandma is Married to a Child Molester. And it's like, it's really just candid conversation about how it's just not normal. We don't have a normal lives. And
Yeah.
so my mom's having heart surgery today because she has a broken heart over her daughter who she's never been able to communicate with. And I know this so clearly. And so I cried last night because I was so psychically clear. I was so grateful. And it wasn't like sad
Yeah.
tears. And this sounds so crazy. And people think I'm a lunatic maybe.
No.
And it's okay. Like that's where I'm at in my life. And this is very Oprah-ish. If you sat down and had a conversation, she'd tell you exactly where she's at. Here's where I'm at. Here's who I am. If you don't like it, I don't care. If you judge me, I don't care. So that's been this like in the last 24 hours happening. So, and I told my mom on the phone last night before she went into surgery this morning, I know that grandma Louise is my grandma who raised me when I was a kid, right?
Hmm.
Hard. And so
Yeah.
I know she's trying to contact me because she has been on Instagram and stuff. And I'm like, and I just am not willing to go there. I have a really healthy, really happy life. And so I've had another psychic, not psychic, but another woman in my life cares a lot about me, but she would say she's psychic. She's like, you need to contact her before she dies. And I just don't feel that need. So I have a direct question about this woman named Louise. Her name's Edith
Okay.
Louise Anderson Budge Jensen.
Okay.
And yeah, she's someone who's a very important figure. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be contacting her. And, like I feel her reaching and I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm really supposed
Okay.
to do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me just check in for angels and guides. What can you share about this situation and what would be aligned? I really feel like it's for her. Like I feel like she's grasping, is she wants peace. That's what I get. She really wants peace. And I feel like she's trying to get it from you. I'm not getting you need to do that. I mean, this is something that she's wanting, and you can decide if you want to try to help her with that. But I'm also
So,
getting on a
yeah,
yeah,
try to help. Or is it a graceful present or is it a curseful way? Do you see
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, I'm
yeah,
willing to help anyone that's willing to be helped. I'm not sure she's willing to be helped because of the situation she's put herself. I see she's going to die. Her mortality is upon her and she's
yeah,
reflecting on her life and she's searching for peace. And I want that for her. So I'll hold it over here and let her find that. But it's not
yeah,
in me.
yeah. Well, additional information I was getting about her is that she's trying to get it from you, but really what she needs is from herself.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll help answer that for you. It feels like she's desperately kind of trying to get this peace, and she feels like she can get it from you, but it's really her own internal battle.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting you need to do that. I'm getting if you want to, you can. Let me look at what this would feel like for you. I'll be honest, I don't feel that you're going to feel great about doing
Well,
it.
I've already decided I'm not doing it. I mean, I want you to
Okay.
know after this whole part
Okay.
right here, I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck you, no way. And that's why I wrote a book called My Grandma's Married to a Child Molester. And let me just share with you the
Yeah.
candid conversations around
Yeah.
Mormonism and this thing that's going on in the media. And it's so pivotal right now. So I feel like that's one way for me to get into a light that's a way bigger
Yeah.
spotlight right now on accident. There's a 30-page digestible version of like, my grandma
Yeah.
was married to a child molester. And that sounds nuts. That's like, oh God.
No.
But my mom already got to go through like the cannabis thing, right? And so I care about people. I want humans to succeed.
Yeah.
I also care about myself and how I feel. And so I
Yeah.
knew. So I feel good that you're just reflecting.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
so comforting to have that reflection. Jeez.
Totally your call, but I'm getting it would be more for her, and it wouldn't feel like, oh, I feel peace after that. It feels to me energetically like when I look at her and I look at you, it's like her energetically trying to tap into you and make herself feel better.
Touch the cloak
And
of the master. And I wish it wasn't like that, but there's a lot of people in my life that are like that on some level.
yeah,
And I've gotten to push I put them in a box on the shelf, and if I need to access it, I will. And other than that, it's okay.
yeah, and I'm getting this is there's a lot of this in our society where we're trying to like comfort those who are being, destructive and abusive and kind of catering this. I've certainly had some of those patterns in my own life of like the abuser is kind of coddled and protected, as if they're the victim. So I'm just getting that sort of pattern emerging, and that it's totally okay for you to be in your power to do what feels right for you. And yeah, if other people think, oh, you should, or that's the nice thing to do, that you don't have to follow that. You just do whatever feels the best for you. And I'm also getting that this whole thing is coming up right now for review in all society. We're seeing that with, all these people that are now being arrested, Maxwell as an example, where it is time to stop like hiding and covering up this situation and the people that are doing these things.
It's so crazy. I had to watch the Epstein thing. Like, I got out of bed one night. I don't watch TV. I don't even own a TV. I had to go to the neighbor's house and watch the Epstein thing. I watched all three, and I was like, something's occurring. And I was like, okay, I got it. And then this all happened. And then I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yep.
This is interesting.
Yeah. And I'm getting there's, a lot more of these, major people that are going to be coming out where these things kind of like behind the scenes are really, really ugly and seedy. And I'm getting, this is one of those things that you're being really guided to write and to share about. Again, very much like Oprah did, she was just so forthright with her experiences with assault and abuse.
I have a book called Oprah Saved My Life, and then it's actually going to be called Oprah Saved Our Lives, and it's just gonna, because I would come home every day after school in fourth grade and watch Oprah and know that everyone else's life was probably harder than mine, even though I didn't know what was happening. I was being molested by like my step grandpa. Like, it made no sense. So it was like so comforting, this person. Right. And so my best friend was like I grew up in an all white school. My best friend was like the only colored girl in the school. And my dad was super racist. So it's this very juxtaposed life of weird, and I very just gravitated towards being who I am. And it's always had a little bit of a chink in someone else's armor. And I realize now that as I am fragmenting and I'm whole and I am willing to be a light to go outward, right? I've shined that light inside now because I wanted to find myself. And now that I've like illuminated, you're like talking about my crown chakra. It's like, okay, I can go forward and I'm safe and protected, and it's okay. I can do anything. I mean, I've like the little tower girl with the crazy moves, right? I can do anything. It's crazy. But I felt like that lately, and I'm like, ooh, is this too much? There's the pattern.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, again, time to be visible. And I get that all of these things that make you uniquely you, your traumas, all these things are actually also the source of your power.
Yeah.
And so it's important to not hide them. And they show me that, what's afraid of the light is the darkness, and so, but you're not, like, you're very much in the light. And part of what's happened is empathically, you've taken on this kind of fear of being revealed. And it's time to release that and let that go. It's time to be visible and shine light on all these things that once the light is shined, they just lose their power in a way that in holding that power over us. We are empowered and they lose their hold over us. So this feels like it's really important. And it's time for everyone in society to stop protecting the abusers and just be really honest and forthright about our experiences, even if it makes your family or whoever is doing this, society as a whole, kind of look bad. And I feel there's definitely some things still with your parents as well, of you trying to kind of tone yourself down and be kind of a little bit more palatable to them.
Yeah, it feels better to be digestible. I mean, it was just such a
Yeah.
rowdy childhood.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm getting that's not the most empowered thing for you to do. And even with family, you know, if people can't have you as you are, then is that really love? Because that deeper love is total acceptance of people and who they are. So I'm just
Totally. Right?
getting
Like, what
to
is
do
love?
that.
I'm like the professor
Yeah.
of this, and I swear to you, I bet I walk around and I'm like, dude, it's all love, and you got to figure it
Yeah.
out that it's all love, in one way. And this is not love though. Like, this doesn't look like love. This is, it's so interesting to me how people do. They protect these, Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm in.
Yeah. So it's time as a whole are basically the whole society is starting to say like, nope, not okay. Like this isn't what we want to do as a whole. But they're showing me it's a bumpy ride when these kinds of changes happen. So that's not to say it's going to be all like, magic and unicorns and everything. But it is
Just kidding.
changing for a reason. Yeah. Do you have any other questions about anything with that situation
Nothing with that situation, no.
or anything else?
Just cowboy boots are a big part of my life. The Western industry is a big part of my life. I dance. I'm a dancer. My heart. I love to dance and country dance. I teach dancing, and so ushering a psychic into a cowboy boot world is like, a very. I just feel like in my mind I built it up because my parents are the cowboy boot world. So
Yeah.
like there's this like, oh, you're being faced with it again, 34 years later. So what do you do now? Right. So just lean in
Yeah.
and yeah, like what would be my best? Like, how can I feel the best? I value my health so much. And so like, well, what is it that would be my next right move in valuing my health?
Well, I'm just seeing they're showing me a couple things. One is just be who you are. And actually, that is so amazing that you have these, two different worlds. And they show me just kind of ripping off a band-aid, like, and
Let people know, like
let
just
people
talk
know.
about
And
whatever, be
yeah,
whoever, like Ellen all the way across,
yes. And
straight Ellen.
also, talk about it, but they're saying sometimes you feel like if you were to talk about it, be like almost like, by the way, I'm the psychic or I'm like into this stuff. And it's like, no, just be like, oh yeah, here we go and be excited about it. And if
Yeah.
people can't have it, then it'd be like almost like laugh it off. And they show me that
Sure.
Beyonce, like, brush her shoulder off, like, all right, that's fine. You go do what you do. But I actually am shown that there's a lot of people in that world that are actually hungry for this approach and this information. They don't even know it. But because you're so in that world and you love it so much, they actually would be more open to you than they would to someone like me
The
or
psychic cowgirl. Oh
yeah,
my
exactly. I'm
God.
being shown like use that and don't like again, don't try to compartmentalize all these different things. It's
Right.
like this is what makes you you and what makes you also very special. I have a lot of goosebumps right now. It feels like that will be a part of like your brand and
That's what
everything.
it is, though. I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew it would come.
Okay,
It takes a
good.
really clairvoyant person. Like you mentioned earlier, you don't let people read for you. I don't
Yeah,
let people read for me. It's a really challenge for me. And I always call it in though. If I need a reading and I know I'm like, I
yeah.
need someone to energetically bounce this shit off my soul. Cause whatever it is, I need to know. Like I need like that thing where you look in the
Yeah.
periscope and then you like get clear. Yeah, yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
all crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting
So
like major goosebumps. This feels like this is huge as you acknowledge this part of yourself and the merging of these two worlds. You become so much more powerful. You manifest at a higher level, attract, better, people into your life, that love you back. It just feels like really
totally. That
amazing
love you
experience.
back. I've got the most loving, supportive people in my life right now. I'm like, I cry every day how grateful I am.
Oh,
I've been like so grateful. I don't even cry now. I'm so grateful for the people in my life because I feel like it just is such a good reflection of how I love myself. So it's exciting
yeah.
to be able to let go of that part of me that I've been wondering about that we talked about earlier, because that doesn't
Yeah.
serve anyone. Like it doesn't serve anyone because then they just do it. People are
Yeah.
reflections of each other and they model each other.
Absolutely. And I'm being shown that you already have manifested and created like this amazing level of, awesomeness, but it's going to keep going up. And part of
Yeah.
this is also allowing yourself to have and receive at even greater levels. Like it's okay. I definitely get that there's kind of a energetic cap, like I can only have so much goodness in my life. And you're like, oh my God, is this okay to have like
Totally.
even more? And you're like, I'm kind of freaking out. But I'm like, yes, you can have more. And then the guides are just, reminding you this is something deep in your heart. But the more that you have, the more that you can give, the more that you have to offer. So, if you're limiting yourself, you're also limiting the world. You're limiting others.
Dare me.
Yeah, exactly. Like the world really needs all the goodness right now, right?
I know.
So when you're having a hard time with that, just keep reminding yourself that logical aspect of yourself. The more I have, the more I can give to everyone, and everyone needs a lot right now because of all these major shifts.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, let me see. Angels and guides. What else would be helpful for Ashley today? Yeah, just be your big, bold, beautiful self, all the things. There's this idea that is in our society, and it's a very kind of old world idea that we can only be one thing, or we can only be good at one thing. And I feel like that is part of what's phasing out now, is this like, just be the one, just the one path, the one job, the one aspect of yourself. And the higher vibe, more true reality is that we are multidimensional, not just in terms of us in this life, but even, there's other lives happening. Like we are so complex in the true versions of ourselves. And part of what's happening now is as a world, we're being guided to just acknowledge the depth, and that things frequently aren't black and white, and that we are complex, incredible, vibrant beings. And so the more you acknowledge all those different parts of yourself and stop compartmentalizing, the more the world shifts. And everyone, and I'm getting a lot of children right now especially need that message, because they're getting a lot of messages about like limitation and lack. And
so the person I'm able to help the most is like a 12 to 24-year-old kid.
It feels like you're here to help a lot, but definitely those are very impressionable right now. Just giving people the permission to be whatever they want to be. And there's a book coming up, if you've never read it, it could be helpful. It's called Refuse to Choose. And it's about, there are certain people that just thrive on doing a lot of different things. I'm one of those people. I'm like, acting, writing, singing, modeling, psychic, podcasting, whatever, all the things. And if I try to just be one, I feel limited. I feel like I'm put in a box. Some people, they prefer to just focus on one thing, and that's fine. I'm not judging that in any way. But if, you want to be expansive and do all those things, then you're limiting your power when you're not acknowledging all of those things.
Yeah, that feels so good to know, like to just hear, because I used to wonder.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of this is just messaging of like, it can't be too much. I can't do too many things. There's one of the patterns or messages coming in is like, I'm only allowed to be really good at one thing.
Right. Or my business partner reflects that. A lot of people in my life, like my parents, are only good at one thing. Like the very, very reflective of my childhood, not a pattern that I would have ever seen or been able to recognize like outside of this, because I just do the thing that I know that I'm good at. Right. But what I realize is I'm good at a lot of things. Like I just naturally I love a lot of things, and I love to encourage people to be better at more things. Right. I'm like, let's do jujitsu, and they're like, you're crazy. I'm like, you're boring, So that's where you lead to relationships. Like, should I be dating a man right now? Oh, gosh, should we ask even?
Oh, all right. Let me check in, and let me just finish one thing that
I'm just saying, it's just like story of my life.
So in regards to everything we were just talking about, they're showing me the image that a lot of people are still into the sort of lack idea or belief that like, we just have our piece of the pie. Like, you can be only good at one thing. That's your piece. That's your pie. Don't try to get the other pieces of pie. Those are for other people. And that's a false and lack belief system. I did a channeling with Tesla recently, and I love this message they gave me. And he said, most people are acting like, they're just get their piece of the pie, when actually there's an infinite number of pies, right?
Yeah.
So
pie is an infinite number.
Yeah. And like, you're right. And there's like, the universe is expansive and infinite like that. So, this includes like what you're good at and what you allow yourself to express and to be. You don't need, there's as many pies as you want there to be.
Have as many decimal points after that bitch as you want to, honey.
Exactly.
Like, it goes on forever and the party never ends.
Exactly. So yeah, that feels really good. So let me check in here in terms of love. Oh, this is interesting. They show me, yeah, there's so much love for you out there. You definitely require not the typical partner because you need someone that's like a peer. And they show me that one of your struggles has been because you've been kind of fractured and like separated in yourself. You haven't really been able to manifest that partner because it's like you're not complete in yourself.
I meet the
And
part of me that needs to be healed. It's great. And then
yeah,
I'm like,
yes.
okay, you're healed. And then tap. And then we go to the next one. And I'm like, oh God, tap. And and I'm
Right.
like, where are you? What's going on?
So as you sort of synthesize all these parts of you and pull them together, that's when I'm getting like you can attract the like amazing part where you're like, la, like this is incredible. So I'm getting it's totally there for you. It's just a matter of this, process kind of unfolding for you. But really be clear on what kind of partner that you want. I'm getting that manifesting work, like writing down, being clear about what you want. And I'm getting there are a lot of times when you manifest the partner that you kind of think you should have in terms of society.
Totally.
And so
I've manifested the exact one I wanted before over and over. And I'm like, I got what I wanted and I didn't want what I got. This is very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So a lot of this is like just really checking in with yourself. Is this really what I want, or is this like what my parents think I should have, or something like that? That message comes up quite a bit.
That's cool. Yeah. Or is this what, and then there's like this, is this what I should just do like now? I think that sometimes we're conditioned to think in the future so much that we just don't like say, should I just like try this out for 20 minutes or an hour
Yeah,
and see what
absolutely.
happens? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Actually,
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, yeah, like,
Well,
so what if you get on a
it's
Harley and go for a ride? Like, your dad's going to kill you. No one's going to hurt you. Everything's going to be fine, but this is where you run into these interesting things.
yeah, I'm getting a lot of times it is maybe just some aspect that needs to be healed, or there's something kind of short term that comes from it. So yeah, just follow that interest in their thing. Just follow your heart, follow that feeling. You have such a strong, empathic center to really trust. But I'm just getting the kind of main message here is you're so magical. A lot of what you're wanting to bring in and create these amazing things, it's just really giving yourself permission to manifest at that really high level and believe that you can have it and that it's okay for you to have that much.
Yeah. It's such a good message, right? Like I've been saying, out of this only good will come, right? I'm a big Louise Hay girl.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
her name's Louise Hay. So I channeled a book right after she passed away called Ashley Louise Hay
Mm.
because I had such a hard time with the name Louise for so long. And then when I found Louise Hay, it was like, she's my new fairy godmother, right? And so then she passed away and I was like, oh, my grandma died, and it's really cute. And so I don't even have this, I have this whole other narrative. I've just learned how powerful stories are. And I want to share
Mm.
that with the world through cowboy
Oh.
boots and psychicness. And so it's fun to see it come together on here. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get off and cry because I'm so grateful. I'm like, oh, yay.
Yeah.
It's really what I thought. Like I get to have it all. And I think for so long I thought I couldn't have it all.
Yeah. Again, that's that limited belief structure that is so prevalent in our society. And then the thing is, when you believe that, it becomes true for you. So much of this is about just releasing that artificial belief that we've been taught to have. And it's hard because it's so ingrained in our family and society. And we need to constantly be questioning that narrative. And then I'm getting this is not just for you, it's for everyone who's listening, that, when there's people who do have and push that sort of false limiting belief, it's important for us to question it and then also just keep assessing, like, okay, is this person's situation aligned with me? Because as we release those who are really in that, a lot of times it just becomes so much more easier for us to align with what is our truth. So,
I get to release my grandma, right? Like, I'm just going to release her and allow her to go and realize that like she was protecting someone who victimized people and is still continuing to do that. And that's what's going on in the world. I'm going to talk about it because why wouldn't I?
Yeah. And I feel like ultimately, what she's looking for is forgiveness. And the only person who can forgive her is herself.
I forgave her a long time ago. That's what I tell my mom all the time. I forgave all these people a long time ago. Forgiveness has nothing to do with, I walked around thinking I was broken for a long time until I found NLP and realized I wasn't broken. I just misfiled a lot of things in the wrong boxes and my computer system wasn't working quite right. It had a virus in it. So as I've deprogrammed my, and defragged and like come back to this whole like thing, I feel like, okay, now it's time to share this in a really palatable way.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
opposite of how it was before, right? I'm just going to say it. And just, you can't give a fuck sometimes. You have to just say bad words and you have
And
to offend people. And that's how it goes. And it's okay. It's not my job to decide how they react. It's my job to be who I am.
yes, yes. And I get that, people will be drawn into your sort of magic. That's why I really feel you're so magical.
I do have a
And
very magical quality that people they become so enamored with. And that's why I'm so
yeah,
excited. Yeah.
yeah. And as you just release your, nervousness or feeling insecure about it, like people just see the magic. And so, yeah, you're so close to these incredible shifts. So thank you so much. This has been such a
Yeah.
pleasure to connect in with you and your guides. And I'd love to, if we just share anything else that you'd like to, if you want to share anything in terms of, how people can connect with you or learn more about you as well, if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. I have a book on Amazon. It's called Unstoppable. What fear and death can teach us about the black cannabis market.
Mm,
It was called the black cannabis market when I wrote it because it was a black cannabis market. And so now there's an interesting
yeah.
twist on all of that. And so I am really, yeah, you can connect with me there. I'm Ashley Louise Jackson on Instagram. I'm an investor. I love to help people. And I'm always looking for something that's magical. Like I love magical
Mm.
things and unicorns a lot. That's what you should know. I own buymeaunicorn.com, but it's not up yet.
That's so funny. I
So
was like, yeah, magic and unicorns.
totally.
That's
It's called
awesome.
buymeaunicorn.com.
That's
If you need to
awesome.
know about cowboy boots, you can get with me on Ashley Louise Jackson. There are some cowboy boot things on there. So the cowboy boot sidekick could arrive soon.
Amazing. I love it. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to read for you today.
You're welcome. Thanks, Laura. This was awesome.
And thank you everyone for listening. If you'd like more information about me, you can go to my website, healingpowers.net. You can find me at Twitter at that Laura Powers, Instagram at Laura Powers 44, and on Facebook at Healing Powers. Many blessings to all of you.